Thank you, Chair Rivera.
Good evening and welcome to Wednesday, November 16, 2022, 6 p.m. regular commission meeting. The meeting now come in order. Present Assembly Bill 361. Please be advised the members of the Planning Commission might participate in today's meeting telephonically. Members of the public might view and listen to the meeting live online to the city website as noted on the agenda. Tonight's invocation will be given by Ms. Mosayed, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mr. Flores. Please, everybody stand.
Dear Lord, we thank you for the ability to come before you with this commission. We invite you to be here with us this evening to grant us the wisdom with each and every case and situation that is presented before us tonight. In your name we pray.
Now for the Pledge of Allegiance, please place your right hand over your heart. If you're ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Secretary, will you give me a roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner De La Rosa. Commissioner Flores is absent. Commissioner Leon,
Present.
Vice Chairperson Villalobos,
Present.
and Chairperson Rivera.
Present. Public comments on the agenda items is now open for item listed on the Planning Commission agenda. Secretary, please announce the instructions for the public participation.
Sure, and just for the record, I just want to let you know that Commissioner Flores arrived at 6:04 p.m. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items listed on the Planning Commission agenda. Please state your name for the record. Each speaker and written comments are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from members of the public that are physically present in the council chambers. If you haven't done so already, please submit your comment cards now. And I don't believe we received any speaker cards, Chairperson Rivera. And I also do not have anybody in the chat line wishing to speak.
Sorry, I'm gonna go back. Public hearing item number 1, general plan land use zoning map consistent update. And before we move to that, I want to make it just a comment that we had the Commission Flores in. Might have a staff report, please, by Mona Mosayed.
Good evening, commissioners and everyone present. This evening, we are presenting the general plan amendment and zone change amendment, which is file number 2021-063. It is a citywide application. One moment, there we go. Whoops. What we are requesting is the requested action, my apologies. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve PC Resolution number 2022-13, recommending the approval of the following items to the City Council to ensure the general plan land use designations and zoning map consistency. First, General Plan Amendment 2021-063. Second, Zone Change number 2021-063. And third, a negative declaration in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. A brief background. A land use map shows the planned or future designations that provide general guidance in density, character, and location of land uses within a municipality. A zoning map shows specific land use zones, overlays, or districts. With this, I will pass over to Infrastructure Engineers, the consultancy firm that the city staff worked with in the preparation of these assessments.
Good evening, Chair, members of the commission.
We're good? Yeah. Good evening, Chair, members of the commission. As you can see, the last and most recent update to the general plan of the city occurred 27
Can you,
years ago.
excuse me, can you state your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Albert Armijo, representing Infrastructure Engineers.
Thank you.
The most recent update to the general plan occurred 27 years ago in 1995. The project before you this evening is necessary to make certain that all, excuse me, general plan land use designations and zoning map district designations be internally and mutually consistent with one another. And also that this project captures, sorry, my glasses are fogging up. This project captures all historical zone changes and zoning ordinance amendments that have been completed, certified since 1995. In addition, the project applies mixed-use zoning corridors throughout the city pursuant to the 1995 land use map, which will ensure project consistency with the city-adopted sixth cycle, otherwise 2021, 2029 housing element. Now, as part of the project, staff evaluated the entire city, 4,282 parcels, separate parcels, I believe, to identify inconsistencies between land use and zoning designations. And also, as a result of the completion of the work program, the proposed zoning and land use designations reflect a comprehensive and thorough review of all the general plan and zoning maps that ensure all updates since 1995 and corrections since 1995 have been realized. This graphic depicts the general plan as adopted in 1995, the current situation. You see there's 10 land use categories. This graphic depicts the zoning map that's unadopted since that time, 1995. It's also has depicts 10 separate zoning district categories and 3 overlay districts for the Civic Center District, the Historic Preservation District, and the Parking District. Now, the summary of the findings, there were identified 105 land use parcel changes that pertain to land use map updates, 717 zoning parcel changes that pertain to zoning map updates, and 95 zoning overlay district changes. Now, also, there were identified 57 legal non-conforming sites within the city too. Oh, then this slide, this graphic on this slide depicts the proposed general plan land use map, keeping the same land use designations as the 1995 general plan. Basically, there are a few changes in the zoning that we'll talk to later, zoning designations, but the parcels with the blue-green boundaries indicate those 105 parcels that I mentioned before within the land use update. This slide depicts the proposed zoning map as part of the land use map that depicts specific land use zones, zoning overlay districts. The parcels with the red boundaries indicate those 717 parcels that comprise the zoning map update. The zoning classification, four zoning classification district, zoning district classifications have been added. An R4 for very high density residential, MU for mixed use, commercial residential, OS, open space and parks, which also within it incorporates the previous A1 agricultural district, and PI or public institutional. Also, two overlay districts have been added. The electric billboard district, residential plan development district have been added. There's some rebranding that went on too in the following zoning districts. R1, single family residential previously became R-1, low density residential. R2 previously, otherwise low density multiple residential, became R-2, medium density residential. Previous R3, medium density residential, was rebranded to R-3, high density residential. The parking district became the parking and buffer district in name, and the commercial services district was rebranded to commercial service and professional district. Also M1, light manufacturing, became M-1, light industrial district. So the summary of the updates, the project before you has updated and corrected inconsistencies citywide. As we mentioned, the parcels would be rezoned to, are being rezoned, proposed to be rezoned, to ensure consistency with the land use map. Upzoning has been proposed throughout the city to accommodate higher density development. And there's also been application and expansion of mixed use corridors. The amendment update is consistent with the general plan, goals, objectives, and policies. It's also consistent with the sixth cycle or 2021-2029 housing element. And the update also identifies areas not included in the previous zoning map and new overlay districts in compliance with city ordinances. They are now reflected.
With that, it is recommended that the Planning Commission adopt Planning Commission Resolution PC 2022-13, recommending approval and adoption of the following. 1, General Plan Amendment number 2021-063. 2, Zone Change number 2021-063. And 3, a negative declaration in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. Any questions?
At this time, we will open a public hearing and receive public testimony. Secretary,
The members of the public will now have the opportunity to speak on this item. Please state your name for the record. Each speaker written comments are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us to the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature through Zoom. And you can go ahead and unmute yourself or use the microphone icon when instructed. We will first begin to hear the members of the public that are physically present in the council chambers. If you haven't done so already, please submit all comment cards now. Seeing, I don't believe we have anybody wishing to speak, Chairperson, and I do not have anybody in the chat line wishing to speak on this item either.
thank you. If there is no objection by the Planning Commission, I will close the public hearing. There are any questions for the staff from the commissioners? Press limited comments to questions to the staff presentation. No questions?
So this is basically a revamp of our general plan, 27 years in the making.
typically what happens, Chair Villalobos, is when a general plan land use element is updated
Come to,
and a comprehensive update is
come to
done.
the front, please. Was-
Okay, are you able to hear me? I'm not sure if I'm audible. Can somebody confirm? Yes, okay. So Chair, just to answer that question, typically when a general plan update happens, and the last comprehensive one was back in 1995, a city will look at a consistency review to make sure that any changes that happen to the general plan land use designations are consistent with the zoning map designations. At the time, staff apparently did not have the resources to do that, so it kept being held on. So other elements were updated, but this one was never quite finished. And so there have been inconsistencies that staff has been keeping track of throughout the years. And now that we received funding through SB2, it's a grant, we were able to put out a request for proposals, and Infrastructure Engineering's planning department was asked to come in and do an agreement with the city. So here we are at the 11th hour, making sure this consistency has happened. But in the meantime, there's also been things that have happened, like the housing element update and new designations that have been created through mixed use. So now it's a perfect opportunity to make sure that all of these amendments that have happened during that time are also looked at and taken into account. And just to point out, and I'll ask Al this question, I believe, Al, the two maps that are proposed right now, the updates, there's an outline identified on there. It's a general plan, it says update, and it's outlined. Same thing with the zoning. I believe those will be removed before the final maps get adopted. Is that correct, Al?
I don't think so. Oh, there. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So commissioners, when you see that outline on the map, it's just identifying those areas that were changed, and it's for clarification purposes, but that will be removed for the final maps. Mona and Elle, anything else you'd like to add?
I feel like you captured it, Gus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner? I have one question. When you say mixed use corridor, where is that, or where is that for the map? So is something new, or is just something that we already have?
Yeah, okay, yeah, would you?
I will share the map again, Commissioner. One moment. Let me go back to the map. Oh, goodness. So the mixed use corridor in question, is this along Gage? In this, we call it a pink color. And then when you go down to the southern end of Eastern. So these parcels in the 1995 land use map were redesignated to mixed use. However, the zoning map did not capture this land use change. And what mixed use will allow for is a combination of both residential and commercial uses.
Okay, but it's already, we're not gonna change nothing, it's already there.
Correct. But this has been an opportunity, for example, that property owners or developers, because it was not readily accessible to them, they were not aware of this. So now we are now able to capture this and share it with the public so that they can utilize this land use designation.
Okay, so today we just basically we only want to allocate the green color, which is the new open space. So somebody else, not the city, will develop those lots, correct? For
Open
housing?
space refers to it's self-explanatory. It's, for example, the parks or the green belts or the greenways. So those are not, those areas that I'm aware of are not open for development. But again, the mixed use, it's simply being changed from A1, which was agricultural, to OS, open space, because we don't have any agricultural growth here in Bell Gardens.
Okay. That's all I need to know. Thank you very much. Commissioners? If we don't have no more questions, I might have a motion to approve the staff recommendation as noted in the staff report and presentations.
Motion to adopt Planning Commission Resolution PC 2022-13.
Do we need to read the whole thing, including the item number two, number one, number two, and number three? Question is for the attorney, Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you, Chair Rivera. You may make a motion to adopt the resolution. So you've named the resolution, and then the actions that are what the resolution does is stated on the agenda. So just say a motion to approve or adopt Planning Commission Resolution number PC 2022-13 as described on the agenda.
Thank you for the clarification. Give me a roll call on this item, please, Secretary.
I believe, do we have a first and a second already?
Second.
Commissioner De La Rosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Flores,
Yes.
Commissioner Leon,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Villalobos,
Yes.
and Chairperson Rivera.
Yes. Item passed. Thank you. Consent calendar, item number 2. We will now move to consent calendar. Does any member on the planning commission wish to pull an item for separate discussion? No? I might have a motion to approve the item number 2 on the consent calendar.
Motion to approve the minutes of the planning commission meeting of September 21, 2022.
I have a second.
Second.
Second. Nobody opposed. Motion pass. Secretary, will you conduct roll call for votes? No, we already have it. Thank you. I'm sorry. Reviews here. Public comments on agenda items. Secretary, will you give us the directions?
Sure. The members of the public now have an opportunity to speak on items not listed on the Planning Commission agenda. Please state your name for the record. Each speaker and written comment are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us to the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or the microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from the members of the public that are physically present in the council chambers. If you haven't already done so, please submit your comment cards now. And I don't believe we have anybody that's wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda, nor do I have anybody in the chat line, Chairperson.
Thank you. If there is no objection by the planning commission, I will close public comments. No objection, commissioners? We'll close public comments. Any staff comments?
Yes, Chair, members of the Planning Commission, I'd like to report on city holiday closures. So we are going to be closed, of course, on Thursday, November 24th for Thanksgiving. And also the city is looking to close between December 26th through January 2nd. So the last day the city will be open is December 22nd, and they will be reopening on January 3rd. Of course, we'll still have our emergency services and some of our public work services available. So just an FYI. Also, starting in January, I will only be at Planning Commission meetings on special circumstances if a project requires it. Handing everything over to our city planner, Mr. Stephen Jones. He will be helping me run the meeting. And the staff reports, rather than saying coming from the community development director, they're going to be coming from the city planner. Of course, I will still be reviewing it. So at the bottom, we'll still have myself and the city attorney. So just an FYI, and I'll hand it over now to Stephen.
Thank you, Director Romo. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. The information I have tonight by way of announcements is as follows. The election results are in, and you are all very likely that the residents that the residents of Bell Gardens approved a city council term limit ordinance, and congratulations are in order for those elected and re-elected. The planning items I have are included in the city's bi-weekly happenings, and the city had a total of 3 site plan review applications and 4 business license zoning compliance requests. And in our advanced planning work, staff is continuing to process the general plan amendment and zoning consistency project that you all heard tonight. And your commission did some great work in recommending resolutions. So we're on our way to the city council. The aim again is twofold: to address the updated zoning changes necessitated by the 1995 general plan update. And also we're addressing the 6th cycle housing element updates required by the state for the 8-year planning period between 2021 and 2029. So this does also ensure that the zoning code meets what the state mandated Bell Gardens general plan puts forth, and allows Bell Gardens to be on solid footing to accommodate the growth that's anticipated and expected, and allows the city to be less vulnerable to misinterpretation of zoning standards and incompatible uses, and further promotes the protection of the public health, safety, and welfare of the residents. So we were 4th in the jurisdiction for receiving a certified housing element from the state in the Gateway Cities region, rather. And this also positions the city to retain autonomy over growth and development in the city, and makes the city eligible to receive funding from local, state, and federal resources. So the commission's work is still underway, since we will bring back the proposed development standards to those mixed use zones and the other zone updates. So that should come sometime next year to make sure that, again, there's compatibility and neighborhood harmony with any proposed developments that are locating within those zones. So expect to see us back with a component of this project. And then also rent stabilization forms have gone live on the city's website to help ensure effective implementation of and enforcement of the new ordinance for rent stabilization that was effective October 12th of this year. Rent increases, as you're aware, are now regulated and annually adjusted based on, or can be annually adjusted based on the rise and fall of the consumer price index figure for inflation. There are allowances for property owners to request additional percentages of increases based on capital improvements and below market rate variations. So those forms that allow property owners and tenants to receive relief if necessary are available. And we've processed quite a few actually in the last couple of weeks, thanks to the staff, making sure that there's a fair market return. And also if there are capital improvements that can be passed on, staff can evaluate that and the director is able to make those decisions. And there are also tenant eviction protections in place, as again, you are aware. So additional rent stabilization ordinance activity includes a recently released, actually yesterday or this week rather, we released a request for proposals for a consulting firm to complete a fee study program to help determine what an appropriate rental registry fee would be. This would help administrative activities and make sure that we're implementing the ordinance in an effective way. And we anticipate being able to make a recommendation to City Council for that award by the end of December. So again, we can further implement the rent stabilization ordinance. Staff has also made a recommendation for, and a resolution was adopted this week authorizing Impact Sciences to begin work on the general plan's environmental justice element. Staff anticipates bringing community outreach and progress news, as well as a draft document for your commission to review in the coming months. In 2016, the California legislature passed Senate Bill 1000 and SB 1000 amended government code sections to require that cities and counties with disadvantaged communities incorporate environmental justice policies into their general plans. And so we're looking at creating an entire element of environmental justice rather than just sparsely putting in the policies incorporated into other elements. We're looking at having Impact Sciences create, and again, have community outreach for an effective environmental justice element. So we anticipate bringing that to the commission for your recommendation also in the coming year. Two more things. Commissioner training is being held tomorrow by the Institute, or this week, I think it's the 18th, for the Institute, by the Institute for Local Government in Orange County, and we hope you'll attend. This breadth of training includes public participation for effective meetings, housing laws and community design, CEQA and transportation issues, legal and fiscal issues, and more. It's sponsored by, again, the Institute for Local Government, or ILG. ILG was founded in 1955 with the goal of promoting good government at the local level. So this in-person training will help you effectively work with staff and aid with local planning challenges and opportunities. Again, that's this week. So if you have any questions on that, Erica and I are able to help you get that facilitated. And then finally, there's no indication that a December meeting will occur, but I encourage you to share your holiday plans with our planning secretary so that we can plan for a quorum, or know that we can govern ourselves accordingly, rather, for that December 21st meeting. And this concludes my report. I'm available for any questions or direction you may have.
Thank you, Stephen. Commissions? Any comments? No comments?
Yes, in regards to that registry, will we be the first city in the county to enact something of that, something like that?
No, this is the city planner, Stephen. City of Los Angeles has a plan. Santa Monica has a plan. We've actually been working with a couple of different jurisdictions to see how things work there and see what's effective, what works. And our associate planner, Mona Mosaib, has been working diligently with several jurisdictions to figure out what looks right for Bell Gardens, but we're definitely not the first. So it's a tried and true ordinance that's been working for some jurisdictions.
Thank you for all your work, staff, because it looks like it's 27 years ago, man. All the inconsistencies and all the stuff that have been brought up, all the items that have been brought up to this commission, it all adds up to this. Thank you.
Thank you for acknowledgement. And like I said, your work is not done, because we'll be bringing a couple of more projects with this in mind to you in the coming months and years. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do together. Thank you.
Go ahead, Gloria.
I was just gonna thank staff and everyone for the wonderful report.
Yeah, I would like to thank staff for their diligence, hard work. It's been quite a year, and a lot of great improvements coming into the city of Bell Gardens. So thank you so much for your hard work and being so informative in your presentations and also in the agendas as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, staff. I just want to ask you, Little Jobs, all the projects that we've done, can we get a report what has been final and what we start outstanding? So we know how many projects and how many are done? Because I see a few that still working, but we don't know by driving by. I think we need to get a report. And I guess if we can't get a next meeting with first of the year, probably would be the best. But however you can do it, I will appreciate it.
We can do
And
that.
thank you for
Chair.
the good work.
Yes, absolutely. I know a lot of times, you go through the process of getting the land use applications approved, or projects, that are citywide. But then there's the actions that have to happen. Either council has to also approve, or the developers have to submit their plan check and get the project constructed. And sometimes that takes years. Sometimes they do it right away. But we'll definitely bring up to you the ones that have started. And we'll also identify the ones that you've approved, but have not actually gotten off the ground.
I hope we're not holding any projects.
No, once you approve them, it's up to the developer to go forward with it.
Okay, thank you. Motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
second.
Second.
So be it. Merry Christmas.